Hello everybody and welcome to a bit of a tech video. I wanted to do a bit of a different video where I kind of just go over, my experience with buying a computer recently myself. So this is gonna depend hugely on your own country. It's kind of like a stupid video anyways when you know, the world is not just tiny little Denmark, but in Denmark, in general, our taxes are very high, therefore our electronics also cost a lot. But now I want to answer the old ancient question that all the nerds, all the hardcore people that always, they will literally jump at your throat if you say anything else. I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate from this, but I did not buy my own computer. I bought it, and I was extremely happy with the purchase. And in fact, it only cost me $100 more than it would have taken if I had built it myself. But you get so much out of buying the computer instead of building it. You also get a lot of options if you build it yourself. But I just want to do a bit of a highlight now. So I want to talk a bit about vendors. Vendors are very important. There are hundreds of these, even in Denmark. Okay, not 100 in Denmark, but there are at least 5 or 10 good vendors in Denmark that sell custom-made computers. And for the specific video here, I chose Sharkgaming. This is a very known vendor in Denmark. A lot of people know about these. They are really pro people, and they do seem to have a good company that's not gonna screw you over in any way. I want to maybe also do a bit of a hype for them because they were really nice when I bought the computer. So I want to do better representation here. So they have all these kind of different computers that you can customize. So I want to talk a bit about that while I'm also going through some general options for building your own computer versus buying it. Okay, so let's start from the top. Bloatware, free bonus gift. Why would you need that? But it's just an extra thing that you get for free. You can't really do anything about it. Then you get a month free of Indie Spill with stream keys. Nice, why not? Free games. Um, let's see here. They have bundle. What can you say? Offers if you need like a mouse or whatever. But bleh. So already the first problem here with the one that I chose, they have a lot of these, but this is the one that I chose specifically for the video, so this is what I'm gonna be commenting about. They chose pretty much the cheapest, uh, probably okay motherboard that you can get that supports DDR4. Because for some reason DDR4, everyone has to have DDR4 now because the stupid Intel Skylake CPUs came out like a year ago or whatever. So now every vendor has to put expensive DDR4 motherboards together with DDR4 RAM, which is completely overkill. I don't understand, but okay. So the problem here is selection. Um, if you ask me, I would have wanted DDR3 memory with like an Asus Z97 motherboard, but they just chose the cheapest motherboard that you could get that supports DDR4 pretty much. It's okay. I mean, it's Asus MSI. They have all the good stuff. I'm pretty sure this is not a bad model. I haven't really checked the review for it, but yeah. Okay, so the next obviously pick we're gonna take is, honestly, I wouldn't even take an overclocked here because this is also a problem again with the cooling, which I will talk about in a little bit. Okay, for the sake of the video, we are gonna go all out with the 670K. So this is pretty much the best overclock gaming CPU that you can get right now. Obviously, you can go insane and get the i7 CPUs, but it's completely pointless. You're gonna get like 5 FPS more at 1080p resolution. So yeah, we're gonna get something really expensive here. Okay, Blood Freezer. These are the Corsair Hydra series. These are just renamed Blood Freezers, so it's the same company or whatever. It's just renamed. They're totally crap, these selections here, and that is also why I actually don't even like to have an overclocked version. So I almost feel like scaling down. But this is again a problem with selection. It's very important that vendors really damn understands this, because like okay, let's say you're Johnny and you're 12 years old and you want a overclocked CPU because it's so cool. You heard your friends that overclocking is the best. Okay, so he buys an overclocked CPU and he's gonna overclock it, but then he only has these options here for cooling. Like these water coolers here, they're from like 2010, 2011 or something. They're okay. It's the Hydro series Corsair, but they're loud. Well, not a lot loud, but they're still not that good. The pump is gonna be not the best, and the performance is not that amazing anyways for cooling. So that is why I would actually just choose an old cheap water what's it called, air cooler, CPU air cooler, just like the one that I got in my own PC. So in my own PC I have an i5 4550, which is like a step down from the best version that was before Skylake. So it's pretty good CPU, but it can't be overclocked, obviously. Um, but I went with a cooler pretty much like this one, very cheap, cost nothing. My cooler is a TX3 Evo, and it runs the CPU at 55 degrees under load always. It's loud, it's kind of loud, the cooler. It's probably the loudest component in my whole system, but what can you do? Okay, so let's go to the graphics cards here. There's not much to choice here. You're also gonna go for the 970 if you want a very, max resolution 1080p high settings experience. So the problem again here is selection, and also just in general. Oh, I really hate this, but I also want to highlight a bit again from the site. I did want to do a bit of a highlight for them because they were really cool. So when I bought my computer, I was talking to the customer support, which was really nice guy, and I said, well, the selection of power supplies, they suck. How can I get something better? Well, he actually gave me more choices. So like before, I only had choice between like two or three power supplies for the one that I was looking at, and he added one more, which was the one that I actually wanted. It was a Corsair M850 watt, which is way too much wattage, power consumption, whatever, for my needs. But it had a gold certified rating, I think it was. But the PSU is always a problem on these vendors. I have never seen a vendor, at least in Denmark, that has good power supply picks. They always have some really weird, not that known brands. I suppose you could just go all out and say you want a Corsair Enthusiast Gold Series AM750i. Really nice pick, but it's really expensive, and I feel like they're, what can you say? Their their mid choices, the ones that are not that expensive, are kind of crap. So the Corsair VS series, they have bad conductors, so they're gonna break. I would never buy that one. I have really bad about it. Maybe it's just reviews that I read that wasn't that good. I can't really remember the FSP 758. It's silver. I think it was okay, but it's like an old brand. So I think this is kind of like an old PSU, which is not that interesting. And again, it's all about selection. If you can get a vendor that has a proper power supply, then you're probably already golden right from the start. Like that is the best thing to look out for, in my eyes at least. But let's say I just go with the yeah, FSP 750 wattage. Then they have, well, for this one that I'm looking at, they have the 440 case, and NXT, awesome case. I can only recommend it. Have it myself, and I love it to death. It's just the perfect case. There are probably more silent cases, but this is pretty good for, not the most expensive case out there. It's still expensive, but it's not like very expensive. Okay, DDR4, they go completely overkill with DDR4. Like, if you can find a vendor that sells even like DDR2, okay, maybe not DDR2, but like, you don't need DDR4, you don't need Skylake CPUs for 1080p gaming. If you're going 4K gaming, sure, why not? But 1080p is like 90% of all gamers nowadays, so why would you want anything more than DDR3? Okay, so the SSD. This is all about preference, but I have read a lot of good reviews about the Intel SSD 240 series. I personally self have a Samsung Evo. I think it was an Evo 440. It wasn't a 850. I can't quite remember. But overall, the selection here is pretty standard. Whether you're gonna build a computer or not, this is like, yeah, brain dead. You choose between Intel or Samsung. That's pretty much it. The best ones. Kingston is okay, uh, but no, just go with either Intel or Samsung, whatever is the cheapest. Okay, hard drive. So obviously want a terabyte. Again, I would prefer to not a gun with what's it called, Barracuda Seagate. Seagate's not that great for me. It's more about the VD carrier, especially blue, I guess, or red. But if you can afford the black, that's supposedly the premium version. But whatever. Okay, so um, yeah, obviously this case doesn't have an optic drive. Now, another thing here is I really want to highlight in Denmark, Windows 10, if you buy it right now, Windows 10 alone, you get it in like a nice little DVD box or whatever. It's gonna cost you 800 krona, which is like $150. And I guess in US, Windows 10 is actually not for free anymore, so it would cost them $100 to buy them in stores, I guess. I suppose Microsoft still charges $100 in US for the software, so they're gonna earn. It's a tiny little profit, but they earn 50 krona for installing the system on your computer, for having it booted up and seeing that it actually works. And if it's a really good vendor, they will also do stress test and maybe even uh, do other support things, whatever. But mostly just, it actually works when they send it off is a nice thing. So that is a really cool thing about buying a computer. Having the thing actually tested before you even get it yourself. Office pack, no. Blue LED, yeah. Vendors like this one sells these stupid LEDs, but who would want that? I mean, you pay an extra electricity, and not like you're gonna look at the computer. Sleeve cables, really awesome future. If you can get a vendor with this, sleeve cables are totally worth it. I did say LEDs, you're not gonna look at it, but oh, there's something about sleeve cables that I would actually pay for. And funny enough, these are not extra charge, but sometimes they might charge for it. Just not in this 4 to 7 days delivery. Now, another thing I really want to highlight here: if you build your own computer, which I'm not against, obviously, it's cool. Say you had your computer for like a year, and your hard drive and your power supply begins failing, or they fail on the same day. Then you have to send in the components to two different vendors, maybe depending on where you bought them. Obviously, you could have bought it at the same site, but if you buy a computer from one house only, one guy, you can send it in and get support and have it so much easier to do AMA and reclamation, which is just it's just so much easier doing it that way. So yeah, this is definitely my preferred way of doing it, just because it's so much easier and more safe for the buyer. And they also choose a little cool here thing. This is I mentioned, if you want to look out for how you can find a really good vendor, the power supply selection is really important. But another really cool thing is that they actually give an option here if they would like you to have the graphic cards installed or sent it together with the computer. Because as we know, postal services and graphic cards, they don't go good together. It's gonna break. It's always something bit of a troublesome area. But they choose to have this option here for those who don't trust in the postal service. More bloatware, but again, it's free. And then they also have a little more extra options down here. So I just want to highlight here the price. So 11,246 krona. I did a price run If you don't know, let's see if it's still, yeah. So the price runner site here is awesome for finding the lowest prices, and I price run this entire build that you see here. So all these components that we just talked about here, all this stuff here I price run. And if I bought the computer, this one right now, versus building it, I would save maybe like 1,000 kroner, maybe 1,500 kroner at best. So in Denmark, if you can find a really good vendor that you trust and you have respect for, and you feel like they're good, honest people, and you're going to really just get more out of your money. Obviously, the selection is not as good, and but I feel like it's just a more safe and easier choice. And honestly, I don't have to learn to make a computer. Like I could probably build my own computer, but there are certain aspects that would still frighten me about it, and that is why it's just nice to have this 1,000 kroner or $200, what can you say, free choice of being lazy and whatnot. But yeah, again, this is gonna hugely depend on countries' prices, and again, Denmark has high uh, cost due to taxes and whatnot on electronics, but still $200 is not that much compared to what you get out of buying the computer already built from a respectable vendor. But yeah, with that, I think I want to end the video before it gets too long. I hope you enjoyed this. I wanted to do a bit of a different video, some tech video and whatnot. But yeah, have a good one and goodbye.